Hi, this is Christopher Spera from iTechYour.org, and I've got a very special unboxing today. You know, I say they're all special, they're all neat, they're all cool, but this one really is neat, special, and cool. I've got the 2021 16-inch M1 Max MacBook Pro. Now, this is the M1 Max with the 10-core CPU, the 32-core GPU, and 16-core neural engine. This has got 64 gigabytes of unified memory and 2 terabytes of SSD space. This one was bought beefy. It was bought beefy on purpose. It is intended that this little bad boy be the last computer that I buy for a boatload of years. This is it, because I don't know that anything that I'm going to do, some photography, some light video editing, some audio editing, and a lot of productivity work is really going to tax the M1 Max. But if I ever do bump into something that I need to have happen quickly, I know this little bad boy can go ahead and power through it pretty quickly. With 64 gigabytes of RAM, I'm never going to run out. There should not be any related issues with this thing lacking for power. All right, with 2 terabytes of SSD space, there is absolutely no reason why I should need to concern myself with a half or a 1 terabyte micro SD card. But because it has an SSD card slot with something called a hyperdrive, which is really nothing more than a very fancy micro SD card holder that you can fit in the side of an M1 16-inch MacBook Pro, I shouldn't run out of storage space. If storage space ever becomes an issue, I should be pretty much set. I can expand probably up to 1-2 terabytes on the on that particular card format. So if I can get up to 2.5 to 3 terabytes of space, I should be pretty good on the outside. With 4, that will probably not cost me the extra, let's see, for 1 terabyte that comes with standard. For 2 terabytes, they want to add $400. For 4 terabytes, they want to add another $1,000. And for 8 terabytes of storage, which this maxes out, it costs just as much as any other computer, maxing out at a total of $2,200 just for storage. This thing is a beast. All right. Now, you can see the corner over here, but I haven't opened this thing up. I haven't touched it. It just arrived literally about 5 minutes ago. All right. I've been sitting upstairs. Today is a work day. I've been sitting upstairs with my dogs waiting for this thing to arrive. If FedEx is listening, but if FedEx ever does decide to listen, if you're listening, you need to really go ahead, especially during COVID and a pandemic, with both workforce shortages and with weather-based issues and processing problems. You guys really need to be more communicative on your website. When I go to track a package, I should know exactly which time this thing passed gas in a bin. There's no reason why I should know or have to call you ever. All right? Wondering what's going on because it's changed from a committed delivery date to pending and hasn't moved in 4 days or more. You guys need to be more communicative. And now back to our regularly scheduled program. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and open this thing. I'm going to try to save the shipping box. I've got a couple of computers that I'm going to try to go ahead and ship out. So I want to see if I can save this thing, if at all possible. The idea here, this particular box is kind of nice. And if I can save it, then I definitely want to. Alright, I don't know that I am. But we'll see what we can do. Because they had to get it in here somehow. They probably put the thing in here and glued it up. And I'm guessing that's probably what they did. Alright, well, we'll just have to take it down one side and then tape. And there we go. Alright. So, here it is. Cellophane still around the box. And we're going to go ahead and put this aside just for a moment and deal with this. Now again, this should be the 16-inch, and I just want to go ahead and go back to my order just to make sure, because, you know, my luck. I want to make sure that I've got the right serial number and everything, because interestingly enough, you can go ahead and purchase this, of course, with AppleCare, but you can pay pay for AppleCare on a yearly basis until the cows come home, which is what I did with this. So I just want to make certain that I've got the right serial number. Okay, so I've found the serial number, and just to make certain, let us go back through and see that the serial number that they think I have is the serial number that I have been delivered. Yes, it is. They do match. Okay. It's happened before. So that's good to know. So this is, in fact, the one that I ordered. It is, in fact, the one that was intended for me. So let's open it up and see how this thing looks. Now, I will tell you that I am very glad that Apple had heard the the nailing and or the wailing and gnashing of teeth as far as the ports are concerned, because they did in fact go ahead and relent and put more ports on this, more standardized ports other than the Thunderbolt 4 ports that were on, or Thunderbolt ports, USB-C style ports that were on the previous generation, going back to, I believe, 2016, 2017, where there was only USB-C style ports on the Mac. This one has got different and more ports. So let's take a look. So this, again, packaging from Apple, thick, nice, and apparently, according to their executives, carbon neutral. We'll see. Again, they've got it wrapped in a nice little bit of cellophane and a nice little bit of disposable paper or plastic. Interesting. This is a bit much thicker, and I don't believe. So this also comes with the Magsafe Charger. It's come back. All right, and this is a bit bigger, I think, than the previous chargers that were than the Magsafe 2 chargers that were used previously. So I don't think, if you've got some sitting around, I don't know that you're going to be able to recycle those and use them with this. So here we go. There's that. And I want to go ahead and just put that down. And I want to keep this nice, because if I do ever decide to return it or sell it, I want everything to be 100% the way that it is, or the way when I got it. So let me grab, because I believe, and in fact I do, have a previous generation MacBook Pro charger. Now, excuse me, I apologize for the untidiness of some of this, but I do a lot of this, and unfortunately I'm not the neatnik that I used to be. So this is the previous generation Magsafe Charger that was on a MacBook Pro, and this is the Pro version and not the Air. So the cable that comes with, all right, is no longer that dusted plastic that you see. This is the older cable. It's got the cable catch here so that you can, when you wind it up, you can go ahead and attach the cable, and it'll stay wound up. But this is that same old matte plastic that was a matte rubber that was wrapped around the wire that you see on every other Apple cable, from a Lightning cable, USB-C cable, to a MagSafe cable. The cable that you get from Apple for the MacBook, the 2021 16-inch MacBook Pro, is a braided cloth, all right? Something that will hopefully be a little bit sturdier. Now, this cable is also hard connected to the charger. This is not. This has got a USB-C or Thunderbolt connection on this cable on the other end. And I don't know if you can see this, but it is, it looks a little, this looks a little bit larger and a little bit wider, and I believe that the connector is much thinner. It is much thinner, and the contacts are, the unit itself is thinner, and the contacts are placed differently. They're spread out because it is in fact wider. So if you've got a MagSafe charger from a previous MacBook Pro, out of luck, baby. It ain't gonna work. And also the extension cord, let's take a look at that and see what the MacBook Pro actual charging brick, which is very different. It is very, very big. It is much larger. Let's take a look at that nasty little bad boy. Let's go ahead and get that cellophane off of it as well. And hopefully it'll push out easily. Again, I don't want to rip. So let's see if we can get this thing out. There we go. There we go. All right. As you can see, this is rectangular, and this is square, so there's a great deal of difference. There's a lot more power coming out of this charger than there is on the older MacBook Pro charger. And let's see, yes. So the extension cords they have out there, you should be able to use. They are about the same, and if this connector fits here without a problem, and it does, then the standard extension cord cables that fit here will definitely fit here. But as you can see, there's the USB-C Thunderbolt port opening there, and this has got the hard wire, so can't reuse these, which is, again, unfortunate. Because my guess is these are probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of at least $100 to purchase. I'll try to look that up a little bit later and then have something out on iChecker.org related to this once the unboxing gets posted. But that's the charging cable. Now the nice thing about this is if you've got a Thunderbolt dock of any type, whether it's a Thunderbolt 3 dock or a Thunderbolt 4 dock, or even a Thunderbolt 2 dock, that USB-C or Thunderbolt cable that charges your laptop, that you should be able to reuse for sure. All right, it'll just go ahead and pop into one of the Thunderbolt cables on the power side of the thing, or the one Thunderbolt cable on the opposite side, and you should be good to go. Now, looking at this all the way around, on the back, there is a indented logo here, and I don't know that you can see this very well. All right. So there's a engraved MacBook Pro in a nice, clean Arial style font. I don't know how much of this is user servable, if anything at all, but the screws are on the back. The pads are no longer half moons, if you will. They are flat but bigger. And this has got some heft to it. This is heavy. All right. On one side, you've got the Magsafe port. You've got two Thunderbolt 4 ports and a headphone port. On the other side, you've got the HDMI port, a Thunderbolt 4 port, and a SD card slot. So you can at least do your photography on the go, pop the cards in and out. If you've got additional storage, like with that hyperdrive that I told you about, that goes in there and doesn't necessarily come out, but you can remove it if you're going to do some camera stuff, or if you've got wireless connectivity on your camera, this baby will handle that as well. Now, the everything else pouch has just basic docks, I think. Let's go ahead and take a quick look to see what is here. All right. It's not what I would consider to be. Oh, interesting. They still include stickers. So if you were wondering if they still included stickers or decals, yes, they do. So you still have those, but they are in fact black, and they are bigger than the logo on the front of than the metal logo on the MacBook Pro. They don't line up quite right, so you can't take that and put it over here. Don't know why you would want to do that. This is beautiful. So we've got safety and handling instructions. All right. We've got what appears to be a quick start guide, and welcome to your MacBook Pro. Going over the ports and the screen. Also, if you recall, this particular model of MacBook Pro does not have the touch bar across the top. Thank God, thank God. Free at last, free at last. Good God Almighty, we're free at last. It is no longer there. To tell you the truth, I had changed that on my 2019 and earlier Macs. I had just changed it to the function keys. But on this particular keyboard, I believe they're now hard function keys again. Now, I'm going to open this up just so we can go ahead and see the keyboard and the trackpad. It's big. All right. It may turn on and it may chime. If that's the case, then that's the case. But I'm hoping not. I just would like to see, because inside this thing, it did turn on. Okay. So there you can see it did turn on. And this is the paper over this, the paper protector over the screen, and I can pull that up, but boy, that's nice and big and nearly bezel-less. This is going to go ahead and run through its standard setup stuff. Hello. Hola. Hello. All right. And it's waiting for me to do something with this. The power button, the keys are supposed to be that new fixed butterfly switch, or fixed key switch, so that it doesn't necessarily have the same clacky no travel problems that we had with the earlier keyboards. But this thing is really nice. It is backlit. The power button is huge comparatively. I'm outlining the button here, and it is big. It's got a touch ID sensor in the middle, and it's about the same size as every other key except for the escape key, which is a double wide across the top here. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's pretty big. So I know what I'm doing today. I am going to go ahead and put this all the way through, and let's gone and gotten through the hellos and the multi-languages, and it's going to want to take me through this. Now, this is, like I said, this has got...
To use English as the main language, press the return key.
And there you go. It is accessibility capable when you turn it on, and that's absolutely awesome for those folks that might either be hearing impaired or sight impaired. You can go ahead and use alternate methods of keyboard input or computer input in order to go ahead and set up and work with your machine. I think that's awesome. As a disabled person myself, I think it's absolutely wonderful. I'm going to be going ahead and I'm going to be setting this thing up from scratch. Yes, I've got Time Machine backups sitting here, and I've got 2 drives that I've pulled together. There's an article that's coming out on itakegear.org on how to add storage to your Time Machine backup process. But this particular machine, since it is an M1 processor and everything that I have in my backup is Intel-based applications, I'm going to go through an application list, just like the restore process for the ransomware series that we did back in 2020. I'm going to go back through and rebuild this from scratch with input and downloading all of my applications individually, simply because I want the M1 versions if they're out there. Everything over here is Intel, and I don't. I'm going to go ahead and it's going to have to install Rosetta 2, but I don't want to use it for absolutely everything that's out there. And even though it's going to have it and it's going to run in the background, this beast will have it and handle it, and shouldn't be that big of a problem. Anyway, first impressions are coming. This is Christopher Spera from itechgear.org. With the beast, the M1 Max 2021 16-inch MacBook Pro, 64 gigabytes of unified memory, 2 terabytes of hard drive space, and I'm tickled pink. We'll see you in a bit.